Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Your Next Move. I'm your host, Evan Saint-Gerard, and my co-host is...
And I'm Dean Graber.
All right, we have a special guest today. This is episode 23, Joe Ha from Nashville.
Hey,
Joe,
everybody.
thank you.
Hey, Joe.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your team.
I've been in the business since 2002. I'm a fifth generation to Nashville. So I've had the good pleasure of watching a lot of transition over the years, as you can well imagine. I have three children, all of which are grown. My oldest actually lives in New York City and is kind of in an ancillary business to real estate. And then I have another son that is an executive chef. We own a hospitality business here in Nashville, and he actually trained in New York.
Nice.
And then my daughter is our director of ops on our team, and getting ready to be newly licensed. Passed her exam today. So
Congrats.
Congratulations. Great day to be speaking to you then with this. Good.
Right.
And I should also say my wife is also licensed, but mostly she works in our hospitality business for us. So
okay.
Good to know. I love that you're keeping it all in the family.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of all in the family, Dean, what's your first question you want to ask?
Nashville to me is one of those exciting places that on the surface, all I hear is Nashville is a ton of fun. What an exciting place to go to. But I've never been there, and it's one of the few cities I feel like I don't know anything about. So if you can tell us a little bit about like city life, and then let's say suburb life, like what if you're going to live, 20 minutes from the city or an amount of a little bit outside of the city? What is that like?
Well, we're fast becoming a food city for sure.
Music to my ears.
If we're not already there. Of course, we've got the Titans. I think the first day of the draft was today. I haven't really paid much attention to it, but
we'll find out shortly.
Yeah.
We've got the Titans on the professional football side. We've got the Predators,
Hockey,
which they play downtown as well. And then we've got a baseball team, a minor league baseball team called the Nashville Sounds. Do not have the NBA here yet.
Not yet.
But there has been talk about it, and also been talk about Major League Baseball here as well.
That's exciting.
Well, you can't talk about Nashville without talking about the music scene, because I've been there a while back, and I wasn't expecting much, but when I got there, I was like, I didn't realize how much music that's actually there. Live music is not just country; it's all kinds of music. So, you want to talk about that, about the music scene?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's and you've got all kinds. My office is here in Green Hills. It would not be, but not, everybody thinks of us as being country music, but we've got it all here, and would not be uncommon for you to go to the local Whole Foods, which is less than a mile away from me, and run into Steven Tyler.
Get out of here. That's music to my ears. No pun, actually pun intended.
Nice one, Dean. Nice. I approve.
He's a very approachable guy, and lives in the area and shops at Whole Foods. So
good to know. All right. So what other things could you tell us about Nashville living that people might not know?
Healthcare is our number one industry. They just announced it's been in the works. I talked to an environmental engineer yesterday. It's been in the works for some time, or at least the site where they're going. But Oracle has announced that they will be bringing 8,500 high-tech jobs to Nashville over the next decade.
Wow,
and
that's a big number.
Dean, you've not been to Nashville, but
no.
We've got downtown, which is on the west bank of the river, and then the east bank, which is where the Titans play. And other than the Titans and Top Golf, it's been an area that's really not transitioned yet. And so Oracle is going on the east side of the bank. It'll be a 65-acre campus very similar to their campus in Austin, Texas.
All right, so they found a big space that they could build up, build out, and
Yes,
utilize. And everyone wins with that, because Oracle's going to win with that, and then and then the local neighborhood, I assume, is going to win with that.
for sure, for sure. And there will be a new bridge connecting their campus into what is called Germantown. Germantown was settled in the early 1800s, just north of downtown. So.
Okay, so does the city there, is it like a business city, or in the sense that people come there, they commute there, they go to work, they leave, and then it empties out at night, or do people live in the city?
There are people that live in the city. We have a new development. It's actually the first in a decade where a new high rise going in that is being developed, anchored in one tower by a law firm, and then the other tower will be residential, and underneath that a Conrad Hilton. And it's the first high-rise condominium that was intended to be a condominium from the get-go. We've had some that have come out of the ground as luxury apartments, and then they've switched over midstream to become condominiums and vice versa. That development is called Broad West. So you have that, you have the Gulch, which is the old train gulch, and it is just west of downtown, but easily walkable to downtown proper. And in the Gulch, you have 2, 3, 4 high-rise residential spaces there. And then, of course, downtown, you've got the 505, the Meridian, which are probably the 2 most prominent high-rise, but nothing like New York. I mean, it's something that is, back when I got into the business 20 years ago, there was not much happening downtown after dark, right? And now it's a pretty vibrant area. If we were to, pick up and head downtown right now, it's almost 5 o'clock. You would see a lot of tourists walking the streets downtown. You would see some people headed home from work. And I guess it really started, pre-COVID, a lot of people were living there for sure. So.
Okay.
All right. And then the suburbs, let's say people do people come to Nashville to retire as well?
Yes, for sure. We're one of 3, I think 3 states in the United States that does not have a state income tax.
Oh, okay.
So pre-COVID, we had 100 people a day moving to Nashville, and I think we're about back up to that number. Of that, 21% were coming from the New York area.
Okay.
11% were coming from the Los Angeles area, and 10% were coming from the Chicago area.
I knew you were going to say Chicago was the third. It's the 3 big. Those are the 3 big cities where people leave.
All right. With that being said, basically, what's attracting them besides the taxes? What's attracting them to come to New York? I mean, to Nashville.
I think probably just a simpler way of life, really. Some are, when you say that, or some of them coming to retire, we see a lot of people, coming to Nashville and then parents follow.
Okay.
And, or maybe vice versa. But we see a lot of people, young professionals coming into the city, and then parents will follow to be close to their children. We're seeing a lot of people that are just moving here, again, just for a simpler way of life.
All right. Could you talk more about the simpler way of life in Nashville?
Well, I mean, I think, our tax base is good for business, and it's good for individuals. We were And over the years, we've been listed as one of the easiest places in the United States to do business. We've been listed by some magazines as the friendliest city in the United States. All of that's good, I think. I was listening to, Kathy Lee this morning that came from the New York area. I mean, she lives here.
Oh, she does. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was, Regis and Kathy Lee.
Yeah.
So, and we're seeing a lot of people, I think, after COVID, people are figuring out that they can work remotely and maybe, let me go to a town that I really want to enjoy and embrace. So
that's one of the reasons why we put the show together, is just to give people some ideas. Like you said, you hit it right on the head. It's pretty much a lot of people they're seeing that they can work remote and they don't need to be near the office anymore. So with that being said, we're giving you some options where your next move could be. And you're saying Nashville basically has a lot to offer for young families, for retirees, for everybody in the middle. You mentioned a lot of jobs are coming to Nashville, and a lot of jobs are already there. What else, like for families, what can they do for, a lot of people doing outdoor activities? What does Nashville have to offer?
We have a lot of lakes and streams and rivers. The city is kind of surrounded by the Cumberland River. What feeds that is a lake called Old Hickory Lake. So you'll see some people coming to town, and again, they may need to come into the city once or twice a week, and they will gravitate. They've always wanted to live on the water, so they end up going and living up in Gallatin or Hendersonville on Old Hickory Lake, and they can get into the city in 30 minutes. We also have Percy Priest Lake and Evans. It sounds like you've been.
What's the name of it?
Right?
I've been downtown a while, but I think maybe two or 3 years ago, and I pretty much stayed in the downtown area.
So if you fly in, you fly over Percy Priest Lake, and there you can't. While Old Hickory Lake, you can actually live on the water's edge. At Percy Priest, you cannot. But there are some residential opportunities where you can get close, but it's mostly a recreational lake, but a big one.
All right. So is there golf or any other activities outdoor
For
activities?
sure.
Top golf.
You mentioned top golf, but some people want
But that's not real golf. I get it.
Sorry, don't mean to offend anybody, but real golf.
But it makes you feel really good about your game. It's something about sitting, hitting a ball 3 stories up. It does flatten out on you very often. So
with AC and food, everything right there.
We've certainly got a number of country clubs here in town. We've also got a number of municipal clubs or municipal courses. And so, golf is a very big sport in the area. The Opryland Hotel is just outside of the city. They've got their own golf course. West Haven is a Southern land development in Franklin. I think they have now one. I know they have one. They may have 2 golf courses on their property. And so there are a lot of golfing communities built around. The Grove is another prime example of that. The Grove is probably 30 to 45 minutes outside the city, but it is a little city within a city. I mean, we're seeing a lot of professional baseball players will wind up living here in the off season.
Okay.
And again,
so the Grove sounds like an interesting place.
Yeah, I mean it's great. The prices start at about 1.4 million and go up to 10 or 20 million. So
oh my God.
But you
And
get to
some
see
baseball players are there.
but you get to see baseball players and other sports figures. All right, so let's talk about affordability. So Dean, on average, basically, let's pick Long Island in Nassau.
All right, so
basically.
let's say somebody's leaving here again, and it could be a younger person, that's transferring their career over to, to your area, or retiree, either way. But an average home on Long Island sells for $550,000 to $650,000, and these are not necessarily huge homes. If they're south of Queens, they're only like 1,200 square foot homes on a 30 by 100 lot. If it's Nassau, maybe it's 1,400 square feet or 1,500.
So
On average.
I sold
So
one.
trading, what would you get?
I sold one week before last in Nashville proper. That was 1,400 square feet, actually 1,444 square feet.
Okay.
And the reason I know that number, that area, was all built back in the 60s for the Ford glass plant. We had a glass plant here that, again, on the river, that in the west side of town, that provided most of the glass for the Ford Motor Company. And so there was a community built in the 60s, and now those houses are starting to transition, and they are in the high 4s to low 5s right now for 1,444 square feet on a quarter-acre lot.
Okay.
How much acreage you said for the
Quarter
lot?
acre,
Quarter
0.24.
acre.
Yeah.
All right. So I just want to make sure people hear that, Lacey, to see what they're trading if they're selling here in New York and going to Nashville.
And really that, as you go out from Nashville, you're either going to get more square footage or less in price, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
All right. So even in the city, then, what you were just talking about, it's about 25% less than here. So, so it should be very affordable to move there, pocket some money, and feel good about it.
And no state income tax. Did I mention that, Dean?
One more time. I don't think
forgot. I'm glad you mentioned it again. I won't forget it ever again.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about sports. We talked about activities. My all-time favorite thing is eating. What is to eat for the foodies out there that are watching?
What's the specialty of the house?
Well, we're known for our hot chicken. And that originated with a Prince's hot chicken. And everybody from Jerry Seinfeld on down has been to Prince's Hot Chicken.
Okay.
And it's still owned by a family member of the one that started it. And it's we've had most all of the restaurants in Nashville will have some sort of variation, or a lot of them at least will have some sort of variation of Nashville hot chicken.
Okay.
We have a lot of Asian cuisine. Monique, she was a chef on Chopped. One of the judges on Chopped. She has 2 or 3 restaurants here. Jonathan Waxman has a presence here with Adele, and Adele's, of course, he's New York based.
Okay.
Lots to do and explore culinarily. We're known for our Southern cuisine, but now you're kind of getting into chefs that do kind of farm to table, more artesian type Southern cuisine, if that makes sense.
Are you seeing a lot of farm to table activity in the South, or?
Oh, for sure. For sure. We own my family owns an inn here. It's the oldest, longest running retreat center in Nashville. And my son, middle son, is the executive chef there, and he does a farm to table cuisine. So everything from, peppers to greens to meats he's getting from local farm and sourcing from local farms.
I think that's really important now, especially like from what COVID taught us based in the last year. A lot of people basically just looking at everything that they've done, and they're looking at all the produce that they purchase and everything else. And they're like, you know what? Let's support the small businesses, the farmers. Let's get more stuff, basically more natural stuff without all the preservatives and all that stuff. So people who are health conscious, basically that's something that might be important to them also. And supporting, small businesses. Not that farming is a small business, but
No.
And we have a true farmers market here as well. So just north of downtown Nashville, you can go on any Friday, Saturday, or we can go any day, but Saturday or Sunday, it's pretty well packed, right? People.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sorry, continue.
Well, and all I wanted to say about that is it is a true farmers market in that it supports the local farmer. So
okay. Well, besides farmer market, are there any like festivals, like annual festivals or monthly, quarterly festivals that are? I see you smiling, so
we have the Tomato Festival.
What is that?
In East Nashville. Originally, Nashville was founded on the east side of the river. And there was, and I'm embarrassed, I can't recall the year, but early 1800s, I think, there was a fire that destroyed over 500 homes on the east side. And so you still see now some of those homes that survived that fire. And then there was a tornado, I think in the 1930s. But some of those homes did survive. And so some of those older homes have been redone over on the east side. But then our wealth moved over on the west side. But the east side is a very cool place to live. And that is where the Tomato Festival is. So you see a lot of artists that will gravitate towards the east side. I'm not near cool enough to live on the east side.
You're not near cool enough, but you started beaming and smiling when you mentioned the Tomato Festival.
Well, yeah, I'll go over there and hang out with them. So,
Well, if they let you hang out, then you obviously are cool. Yeah. You're cool in our book.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So we talked about all kinds of activities. What's that one thing about Nashville that people do not know that they need to know about?
We're friendly. I mean, that's bottom line. We're friendly. It is not uncommon, to, speak to people that you don't know on the street. And so that's kind of the one neat thing. You can engage somebody here, which is not the case in some cities. So
that's good to know. All right. So Dean, you have any other questions?
Yeah, can I wear my Islander jersey to a Predator game, or am I gonna find out it's not so friendly?
You're what? Who?
My Islanders hockey jersey. Yeah, there we go.
I heard you.
We all heard you.
I know.
Sorry to all the Islander fans out there. Not really, but anyway.
But listen, this is interesting. It's a place I always wanted to go to. I hope when people see this brief video here that they might think about visiting, checking it out, and seeing if it's for them, in the near future or later, whatever.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up.
And I'll give you a tour.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up also. So what if somebody basically is considering Nashville, and what if they just want to rent there for a while and before they buy? Are there opportunities?
Yeah, there certainly are. I mean, we, in the real estate business, some parts of our city are growing north of 10% per year. So, and that can get pretty expensive. And if somebody comes in and they just want to learn the city, I completely understand that. But if they wind right back up where they would have been a year before, then they've wasted, in some cases, $100,000, $200,000 in appreciation. And we're, before we started today, we're seeing right now in the city proper a lot of homes, no matter the price point, are going at 12 to 15% over with multiple offer situations. But, certainly if you guys can put us in touch with somebody, we'll give them a tour of the city. We do that all the time.
Okay.
Where people are considering, they may be considering Nashville and they may be considering 2 or 3 other cities. And so if they come to town, we'll give them no strings attached, a 4, 5, 6 hour tour, and hopefully they get a flavor of what our city's about. So,
All right. I'm glad you brought that up. Now, can you tell us basically how they can reach you and what specific towns in Nashville that your team specializes in?
What area?
Sure. It's Joe Ha, Hach, and it's the Ha Group, the Ha Group at gmail.com. Goes directly to our director of ops. Personally, I primarily work in the luxury market, but I do have a buyer's agent that works in all segments of the market. The areas that we work in, of course, are Nashville, and there are a lot of individual areas that we've talked about today, from Germantown to East Nashville to Westmead to Belmead. Franklin and Brentwood is a bedroom community to Nashville, south of us. Nolensville is a bedroom community to us, south of us. I didn't mention our number one industry is healthcare here.
Okay.
But we also have become over the years a pretty good stronghold for the auto industry. So starting with Bridgestone Tire, they moved their corporate headquarters from California probably 30 years ago here. Nissan Infinity just moved here 2 or 3 years ago. We've got a lot of tire companies. We've got a lot of auto companies here now. But Nolensville, Franklin, Brentwood, those are all located in Williamson County. Even further south than that is Maury County, Maury. Locals pronounce it Murray. And then you've got Gallatin and Hendersonville, which are in Sumner County. All of these are within 30 minutes to 45 minutes of Nashville. So
Okay.
Okay,
Good to
good to
know.
know.
All right. Well, we talked about a lot of stuff. Is there anything about Nashville that we didn't talk about that you think is important for the viewers to know about?
no, just come see us.
All right. Good to know. All right, Joe, thank you for doing this. I want to say thank you to Joe. Thank you to Dean. Other than that, basically, if you have any questions about
Thank you,
Nashville,
Evan, for putting it together.
anytime.
Thank you.
If you're interested basically in finding out more about Nashville, definitely give Joe a call. If you have a house that you'd like to sell here in Queens, Long Island, or Brooklyn, or the Bronx, give us a call. We can help you. We'll put you together with Joe and his team. We're gonna sign off right now. So thank you guys for watching. Before we sign off, I always forget this part. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends about this. And other than that, we're gonna sign off. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dean.
All right.
Thank you, Evan.